States Air Force, retired. We're on the 22nd of March, 2008, and we are here at March Air Museum in Riverside, California. My favorite airplane was this one, Republic Aviation's F-105D Thunderchief, which was nicknamed early in the 1960s the Thud. This airplane flew 75% of the combat missions over North Vietnam during the Southeast Asia War. While I was there were 4 other squadron commanders who were shot down. This was classified until April of 1966, so there was no media covering what we were doing. When it was apparent that I was probably going to reach the 100 mission, Saigon sent over a film crew to record it. So I'd like to run that for you at this time. At Karat Air Base in Thailand, and it's the 3rd of June, 1966. You're going to get a feeling here in these silent film shots done by Saigon film crew. For the pilots, flight gear, the flight lineup, and particularly the 100 mission reception that our 469th Tactical Fighter Squadron created, because we were the first to deploy PCS from the United States in 14 November 1965. So we had the first pilots to actually get 100 mission, and we designed that reception, which was used for every 100 mission pilot in Vietnam until the peace treaty in 1973. The 100 missions tour completely occupied pilots flying over North Vietnam. It required continual study, briefing, preparation, and flying. The long missions from Thailand to Hanoi or Haiphong. And the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which could also be in Laos. In-flight refueling was used in almost every mission. In this particular flight, we had 4 F-105s and an F-4 chase plane, where this last pilot you see is Dr. Dyke, our fantastic flight surgeon, who flew whenever he could. He wasn't a pilot, he was an MD, but he was what we call the perfect flight surgeon for our combat squadron. Here's the flight line at Karat. And the pre-flight of the Thud. The recorded history has played a critical role in today's meaning of the Vietnam War. There's the opinion that the U.S. lost that war militarily. That's wrong. The Paris Peace Treaty of January 1973 returned prisoners of forces. Saigon fell in 1975, 2 years later, at which time Pol Pot in Cambodia began his Khmer Rouge killing fields, where by 1985, 1/3 of the population had been murdered. The F-105 was a terrifically reliable airplane. I flew 125 missions without an abort. Here's the starter, cartridge starter system on the 105. If the United States had not developed its military aircraft industrial base, we would have lost World War II. And we would have lost the Cold War, because it was our airborne
and missile nuclear weapons that created the mutual assured destruction deterrence of the Soviet Union forces until its collapse beginning in 1989 at the Berlin Wall. Our missions almost always went out over the Gulf of Tonkin and hit the tankers, or went up to the southern part of Laos where the tankers would orbit for us, and we would usually hit them on the way home. Sometimes we'd have to hit them on the way out too. Always had ground control for everything we did. Fully loaded, we took off individually. And here comes Doc Dyke in the back seat of the F-4 chase plane. Unfortunately, the aerial films shot by the Air Force on this mission never appeared. In fact, these particular films only appeared about 35 years later. I had forgotten completely about them. I was coming up on retirement and decided to check, and sure enough, there they were. But they had never been edited. For the 100 mission flight, flybys were authorized. Otherwise, no. And here's the flight line reception. And you'll see here in a minute formation taxiing in, which was very rare. We hardly ever taxied in formation. This is Lieutenant Colonel Hopkins, who replaced me as commander, bringing up my champagne bottle. And there's Doc Dyke. Drinking my champagne. It was customary to give the crew chief a case of beer on the 100th. And that great day when you could log the 100th mission, knowing that you had made it and were...
Come and sit by my side at the briefing. We will sit there and tickle the beans. Then we'll head for the Red River Valley. And today I'll be flying between. To the valley he said he was flying, with no thought of the fame to be earned. Many jockeys have flown to the valley, and the number have never returned.
Most pilots did reach the 100 mission mark, but 35% of them never came home. And those are the ones that are true American heroes.